Hello, my name is Autumn Smith. I'm a reading specialist working with families and staff to implement culturally sustaining pedagogy that can be used to develop students' identities and promote critical thinking skills to engage in a global society. I've had the pleasure to serve as an educator for the past 15 years. I believe as an educator, I have an opportunity to support future generations become good, just, empathetic people who challenge social norms in a democratic society. I am the author of Exploring Equity, One Literacy Leader's Case. I hope that teachers and administrators can use the article to reflect on their own cultural lens and impact of how one's biases may impact student learning outcomes. I did graduate from Loyola University, Maryland, as with my master's in literacy in the reading specialist program. Part of that program was we did a action research inquiry. And so my abstract and my actual article is based on the work I did during that time. The abstract itself was the purpose of the study was to evaluate how teachers' dispositions and corresponding decision making can affect student learning outcomes. The following questions were posed and were the basis of this inquiry. Many of these questions came from my own experience and observations within the classroom setting. The questions are as follows. How does the characterization of student learning behaviors and classifications correspond to student achievement? What is the impact of teacher disposition and decision making on achievement? What is the representation of student subcategories across labels? And does access to advanced academic programming or enrichment become limited given specific labels? These are questions that I created based on, again, what I saw within my classroom and how there was a disconnect between my daily observations and much of the data that was collected on students, especially our marginalized students. So, as a result of what my observations were, I began to start to do an inquiry and was able to formulate many of these questions. As I began to try to figure out how to be able to address these issues, I came across a tool called an equity audit. Um, that is what I used to complete and as part of my research. The researcher completed an equity audit to identify classifications of specific groups of students. Equity auditing is actually a tool used to examine persistent achievement gaps by race and class in the U.S. public school systems. This tool has been used to illustrate the significant achievement gaps among white and minority students. Many school professionals and researchers consider equity auditing as a critical tool that can be used to uncover, understand, and change inequities that are internal to schools and districts in three areas: teacher quality, educational programs, and student achievement, as found by the following researchers: Skrilla, Shurich, Garcia, and Nolly. So I did apply equity audit is one of my tools. I did both qualitative and quantitative research, which you can find more so in the article itself. The findings were very interesting. And it really showed that not only were students being labeled, but had multiple labels that did impact student success. So, as we look at this and talk and think about our current climate and how we are trying to address the issues that the current infrastructure of education exists, I do believe an equity audit is a good way to examine and self reflect, not only at an individual level, but as a school and district level as well. So, based on my findings, I did also decide that it was important to put action along with this as well. And so I firmly believe that to truly produce equity within education, educators, schools, and school districts must begin to implement tools such as an equity audit to eliminate the invisible barriers for students and analyze student achievement and access to education across specific subgroups. And so within the article, I do provide applications for promoting equitable outcomes for educators and school staff, as well as specifically at each grade level, department level, and then as school wide too, as can be a tool for school improvement as well. Thank you again for taking the time to learn more about me and my research and my this poster presentation. If you wish to learn more, please consider visiting my profile where you'll be able to see access the actual link as well. Thank you.